Welcome, welcome. This is Old York Gritty. And as you know, I gritty New York. Nobody gritty New York better than me. I don't even have to be in New York and gritty New York. That's how gritty of a New Yorker I am. I'm Old York Gritty. You know what I'm saying? Right. So let's get into this. By the way, this is my book, Street Skelzy Knock 'em Out the Box. It's a murder mystery about two brothers who must team up from opposite sides of the law in order to track down their father's killer of killers. Pennell Purple was a prominent Harlem businessman, and well respected. So it was surprising to find out that he was killed on the side of the road, right? So now, one brother, he's a New York City detective, along with his partner. He teams up in trying to get ahead of his brother, who is running around with a possible witness, with the hopes of getting into the witness first. All right, so let's get into this. All right, let me put this up here to let you know. Don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. Hey, and matter of fact, so you can get notified whenever there's new content or whenever I'm going live. But I really appreciate when you just leave like a comment inside the and the message in the comment section, just due to the fact that I like to engage with the people. I don't really like just jumping right into this, but since there's nobody there, I got no choice. But I really like to really get to know the people and making sure that the message is getting across and what is really being said here, right? So we got the pirate story. Very important facts and remarks. Adhering Masons shown to be liars by necessity. Right? So there's when you just to know that when you're dealing with these people, if you were expecting to get the truth, you looking at a Freemason and you thinking, oh, I'm gonna get the truth from a Freemason. A Freemason is never gonna tell you the truth, right? He can't. It's against the rules, and 90% out of them can't because they don't know the truth. You understand what I'm saying? They don't know the truth because they haven't got put into the position to earn the truth. You understand what I'm saying? Because they could easily just do what I'm doing and decide to reveal it, and then the whole show is gone. Right, but they could go like this to me. They can discredit me. What do you know, man? Was you first thing you agree, Mason? Right, and so I put all of the information out first. So then, by the time these people try to come to me and say, "Well, I don't know," right? All I got to do is point them to this direction and watch their eyes, light up. Because there's two, like I said, there's two type of Freemasons. Those who are under the impression, right? And once you tell the truth to them, they be ready to think that you ready to be their new enlightener, right? But you can't take them in because they're natural born liars. They'll just take the information, take as much as they can, right? They won't. They're not patient, so they'll take the information and run with it as quick as they get it. Pardon me there. All right. Hold on here. Okay, so let's get into this. All right. While I'm actually preparing some cannabis here. Right. The following stories has been published by the Masonic fraternity and is circulated in little books intended to be used for children. See a little book called Odds and Ends. All right, so we will be looking for that book, Odds and Ends. It goes following the story The following story had been published by the Masonic fraternity. It is circulated in little books intended for use of children. I see a book called Odds and End, page 73, G. Sickles, New York, 1830. Pardon me, yeah. 1830. Right? Masonry disarms the pirate. In 1826, Brig twin brothers sailed from New York bound for Dominica. When she arrived off the hole in the wall, she was boarded by a particular schooner under Spanish colors, the crew of which immediately commenced to discriminating pillage of the vulnerables on board the brig. After having got permission, of which the captain, crew, and passengers were severely lashed to the mast and treated in the most cruel manner. Many of the victims, however, soon found ease and death from the torment of their disposed doses, while others having been released from their bounds, fled to the quarterdeck, and sought death in the floods of the ocean. Among the passengers was a young man who was a mason. As a captain of the schooner with the uplifting arm as about dispatching him, he exhibited to the pirates that he numbered among the band whose home is in every clime and over those disdains and outstretches arms of the grand architect delighteth to watch. He was a mason. The sword was immediately dropped. The pirate fell upon his knees, and with uplifted eyes he exclaimed, God forbid thou my sins are many, that my arm should be raised against my brother. He was treated with the greatest kindness, and 10 days afterward was set on shore near New Orleans, the pirates restoring to him all his properties and paying him every possible attention. Mark this: all who oppose Freemasonry and acknowledge that an institution fraught with so many benefits to the human species is above your snare and the marvelous of the ignorant. The sword falls harmless before it. The pirate whose glory is blood bows and knees, an unrelenting savage with appraised tomahawk drop it, and an ecstasy of delight hovers over his enemy and calls him by the enduring name of brother. All right, let me roll this up here real quick. All right. Smoking some greenery. Be honest with you, I don't even know the strain. I have a few strains, and I just went in there and just grabbed it. Let me see. Um, Sour Stomper infused with double grape. Those are Mephistos. All right. So let's get into this. Um, call enduring name of brother. I quote the above in the Masonic Almanac of 1830. Now mark the following particulars. Here is a pirate whose glorious blood he and his numerous company board a merchant vessel at sea and commenced an indiscriminate pillage of the vulnerables on board. Nor does this satisfy. They take the unfolded sailors and passengers and lash them to the mast and treat them in the most cruel manner before murdering them outright. So terrible was the wanton cruelty that many of the victims soon found ease in death, while others, when they got a chance, fled to the quarter deck and sought death in the floods of the ocean. As this great as this good mason captain of the pirate vessel was torturing and cutting to pieces his unoffended victims, he came to the young man who gave him the masonic sign, just as his uplifted arm was about dispatching him. The result was the bloody pirate spared this mason, but murdered every other individual on board. For he is not said to have spared any other. This man, however, we are told he treated with the greatest of kindness as a brother, landed him at New Orleans, a favorite resort of Masonic pirates. The pirates restoring to him all his property and paying him every possible attention. Now observe, all these murderers were good Masons and are still recognized so to have been by their good brother Masons, among whom are many professed ministers of gospel. And observe, to all such go to the grand lodge above. According to Masonic teachings, the following that the Bible is not only useless, but parable untrue. It is teachings the true. That is, as masonry is not a lie, the Bible is no marvel than that so many Masons are infidels, nor is it matter of wonder that so many of them are notorious liars, seeing Masonic teachings lends them to reject the Bible and consequently release them from all moral obligations, such as the men whose home are we are here told in every clime and over whose destinies and outreacheth arm. The grand architect delighteth to watch. Thus the Masonic God is represented as being the patron and protector of all sorts of villains and villainies. No wonder then that the Bible and the God of the Bible are rejected by such a system. Nor is it any wonder that those who bind themselves to this system by oath and death penalties so soon become corrupt and capable of any violation of the moral law. Observe too, it was not because of any moral feeling or sentiment that still lingered in the minds or hearts of this pirate that he spared the Mason while he murdered all the other passengers and sailors on board the ship. Not at all. It was simply because his Masonic oath and obligations bound him to obey the grand hailing sign of distress. He Had he not obeyed that sign, he would have violated his Masonic oath, in which case all Masons were bound by their oath to take his life. Moreover, by such violation, he would have fortified Masonic protection, and then, even though he should escape the Masonic knife, he would not escape the civil law. For Masonic judges, constables, jurors, lawyers, and witnesses would be under no obligation to protect him. But having kept his Masonic obligations, he might continue to commit all sorts of crimes with impunity and joyful singing. I'm Pirates of the Isles. And doubtless he and his companions continue to commit their piratical de- depart depredations, my fault here. And the Masons knew all this. Otherwise, how could they give us the above detailed accounts of their doings as to the Masons whose life was spared? He could not testify against them, though he saw them pillage the vessel, torture and murder his companions, and land safely in New Orleans, for he was bound by the oath and death penalties to keep their secret. Murder and treason not accepted. To this Masonic pirate story, some excellent remarks are appended in almanac and appended in the almanac. I will quote some of them. Pardon me here. I'm looking for my lighter. See how that go? I don't feel like Craig. You got the L, but you ain't got the lighter. What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? Hold on, let me just check my pockets here. Oh, see, got a lighter. Anyway, so let's go. There is a striking allegory between masonry and piracy. Masonry claims to be ancient. Piracy is still older. Masons are bound together by laws particular to themselves, and so are pirates. Masons enforce obedience to their own regulation by horrible penalties, so do pirates. Masons regard the violations of their obligations as treason to the fraternity, and so do pirates. Masons inflict the penalty of death upon a traitor, and so do pirates. Masons consider their obligations as superior to all others, and so do pirates. Masons deem who do not belong in their order as profane cowards and as having no claim upon them for protection, just so pirates. Masons are bound to help each other out of difficulties, right or wrong, and so are pirates. Masons are intensely anxious for the preservation of their secrets, and so are pirates. Masons declare that their institutions come from God, that it is the handmaid of religion, and that both it and they have God particular protection. But there is a but here the parallel fails. Pirates has never been imposed enough to be guilty of such blasphemy. And we may add, Masons pretend to be very pious and to be preachers of the gospel. But we know not that pirates were ever mean enough to pretend to anything of the kind, so that here too the parallel fails. Now, this pirate story may be true or it may not, but in either case, it is equal to the purpose, for it is published by Masonic authorities who recognize the pirates as a good Mason while confessedly guilty of what all but Masons consider the highest crime that man is capable of. And according to the same authority, some grand lodge above as soon as he dies. Thus, it is that Masonry does away with all the ideas of moral good and evil habituary received as such as worship the God of the Bible. Yea, and most of what is taught by the advocates of natural religion. It will be observed too that the Masonic authorities who publish is pirate story find no fault with the Mason who witnessed the bloody deed of the Masonic pirates and concealed them all. He could how could they? Seeing he was bound by the Masonic oath to do this very thing, and in fact it was only by concealing that he could continue to be a good Mason. And this is equally true to every Mason, whether he be in the witness box or the jury, on the bench, at the bar, in the pulpit, or in the saloon. Just in this connection, I will give a short quotation a long and very sensible article in the Sinarus of December 27, 1870, showing the relation to masonry into the Ku Klux. So this is for the black people who want to see, the connection of masonry and the Ku Klux Klan. So that way, when you see these people, joining this system, you can see why it was such conflicts, right? You can see the conflicts, right, with the black lodges because you know people like the Ku Klux, they don't even want to use you. So the Freemasonry will use the black man, and the Klan like, nah, we don't need to use them. We just need them out of here. you know, and so we could see, many Black Wall Streets and all of that being burnt down throughout the nation, because of this same fact. But anyway, let's go. Criminals can well afford to be Masons, as the sharpest of them very well know, right? Because you know that the system of Freemasonry, as you can see, is criminal in itself, right? But it's an ill criminal organization because it's really working for the government. It's building a new system. It was there taking down one system while being able to set up another system, right? So even though it was causing this chaos and mayhem, it wasn't giving up its people, and it's still not. Criminals can well afford to be Masons, as the sharpest of them very well know. They can well afford to prey upon only one half of mankind, so they have the other half to protect them from justice. See what I mean? I am acquainted with the clergyman who is wont to speak the praise of masonry because his life was once saved by its particular charities. It occurs on this wise: the clergyman was crossing the Atlantic Ocean in a merchant vessel. During the voyage, the merchantman was attacked by pirates. The captain of the merchantman was a Mason. He gave the Masonic signal of distress. The captain of the pirate ship, being a Mason, also withdrew the attack. Here is precise charity, but it is very profitable charity to the pirate as well as to the merchantman. For the pirate has the protection of the merchant captain in turn. All pirates on the sea or on the land can well afford to detest from crime against their brother Mason when they have a world of Masons to shield them from justice. This illustrates the regulation of Masonry to the Ku Klux Klan, as well as to other unpublished criminals in our country. It keeps justice off from these night murderers because their gangs are led by Masons and because they do no harm to Masons. It is quite evident that he who would receive protection and help from Masons, Ku Klux and company, or be exempted from suffering by their dark and murderous deeds, must in turn defend both them and their vile system. Do not suppose that such characters will favor you for nothing. Not so. If you do not either directly or indirectly favor both them and their system, they will treat you as they do others, profane cowards. The favor obtained from all such characters are obtained at the expense of justice and truth. The honest man cannot afford, hold on, let me just take a few more puffs here. By the way, don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and that. Wait, hold on. Don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you can be notified whenever new content is being uploaded. All right. Don't forget to also check out my book, Street Skelzy Knock 'em Out the Box, which is available on Amazon Books and other platforms. All right. So let's get back into this. All right. Some people. Wait. Um, the favor obtained from all such characters are obtained at the expense of justice and truth. An honest man cannot afford to pay such a price for all that sinners do for him. Some people are, it seems to be, slow to believe that Masons will lie and that they are under oath to do so. The following, which I take from Sonorous in December 27th, 1870, may tend to convince them of the facts. A fresh antidote. And I'm thinking that's antidote. And okay. It is easy to wear a rough garment or a pure lambskin to deceive, when to tell a straight story for this purpose, and keep the part in a consistent shape and relation under cross examination. We will illustrate by an anecdote of ancient occurrence in our country. A zealous anti-Mason loaned one of our recent publications. We do not remember whether it was Finley's book or Green's. It is immaterial which, to a friend who is a Mason of more than ordinary candid in a blind disposition in obtaining his premise to read it, meeting him afterwards, or our anti Masonic friend asked, "Have you read that book?" The answer was yes. We now said, the anti Mason, "Tell me honestly, is it true or not?" "Yes," said the Mason, "it is true." Our friends, not being under oath to keep a Mason secret, murder and treason not accepted, made what use of the confession we found occasions to do. And so the matter came to the ears of the Mystic Brotherhood. Our candidate Mason was soon cited to answer before the lodge for unmasonic conduct. Thus, confronted with his own incautions, admissions, he was in a similar quaternary with the first office of the Navy. He didn't think he said it, couldn't remember it, anyhow. Upon this, the lodge appointed a stern and restriction committee to interview our anti-Mason friend and ferret out the exact truth of the matter. Somehow our friend got wind of the appointment and thought generally ready for the encounter with the sly fraternity. He made special preparations for this. So when this respective representative, so when the representative of the lodge in a sort of incidental way inquiry, did Mr. F tell you that anti-Masonic books you lent him were true? Yankee, like he replied, "What if he did?" "Why," said the Mason, "if he did, he is a perjured man." "Yes," said the anti-Mason. He said directly what you have now said indirectly. You said the book is true, and you say that by saying that he perjured himself. He could perjure himself only by letting out Masonic secrets, and he could let out no Masonic secret by saying the book is true unless it is true. But you say if he said that he perjured himself. Therefore, you assert that the book is true as strongly as he did. And I have two Masonic witnesses instead of one. Pretty business you and your lodge are in, trying to do the devil's work by suppressing the truth, trying to destroy a man's character for candidly confessing the truth. A fit reward for you it is, for digging a pit for an honest man that you should bundle into the same pit yourself, not by any candor or honesty in you, but by lack of smartness and to conceal your villainy. This is the last we have heard of the virtuous disciplinary committee. If anything more of interest comes to light, we will report it. H. Now observe the crime of this Mason simply consisted in saying, yes, it is true, when it is true, when it was true. And this truthful utterance, Masonic authorities pronounce perjury. It is clear, therefore, that he was expected to deny what he knew to be true, and that this Masonic oath bound him to do so. Yea, and to save his life, he did lie when called to account before the lodge. And if he escaped with his life, he may thank God and the vigilance of anti-masons. It will be remembered that Miller of Belfast and others were murdered for saying yes to a similar question. So true it is that a Mason cannot keep his obligations and be a true man. It will be observed that we are dealing largely in Masonic testimony in a well authenticated facts of Masonic doing. It is our purpose to overwhelm Masons, Jack Masons, and all those who are slow to believe our report, to overwhelm them. I say with evidence that will leave them exuberated if it does not make them reasonable. Now that should be the last of that chapter, right? And so we get again, if you don't know what the Jack Mason are, that's basically all of the rest of the cats who like say you have a lodge and there's three people who truly know what's going on, right? Then you have four more with which can earn their way, to learn that, and then everybody else, they basically the Jack Masons, like they the followers with the information, right? This information and they're following because their higher ups gave the order. You know, you just following the commands, right? So, that's the end of chapter 8. I'm a let me see what time it is. Yeah, I'll come back and do another one. That one was kind of quick right there, right? So don't forget, yo, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be informed whenever we have new content uploaded. And don't forget, this is Street Scalesy Knock 'em Out the Box. It's about two brothers on opposite sides of the law who must team up to find their father's killer or killers. Pernell Purple was a prominent businessman in the streets of Harlem, where one day he got killed coming from his exotic car shop. Now, on the way home, he winds up getting killed. Nobody knows what happened. The two brothers, are upset, but one is trying to keep his brother from doing something silly. So he's trying to get ahead of his brother, who he knows once he gets a hold of him, it's not going to be a pretty sight. And he's trying to keep his brother out of the state pen. All right. So with that, we up out of here. Peace.